And Future's beef is getting so heated, Young Thug is trying to stop it from behind bars.
Ooh, like fire! So start melting ladies, because the boy is hotter than hot.
But will he just make things worse?
If my help's not appreciated, lots of luck, gentlemen.
It's been a while since Future sent major shots at Drake alongside Metro Boomin and Kendrick Lamar. So long that it's starting to affect people that weren't involved to begin with. Young Thug has chimed in on the feud between Future and Drake. Parking lot, after school, it's on. He wants them to stop beefing and come back together so all three of them can make magic like they used to.
I hate to lecture you guys, but
are his attempts falling on deaf ears? There's been so many things said so far to the point where it looks like certain relationships are severed forever.
Why?
How does Future feel about Thug trying to mend things from jail? How does Drake feel? No one knew Future and Drake had any issues until Future and Metro Boomin dropped their project We Don't Trust You. Fans have been calling the entire project a diss to Drizzy in some way, shape, or form.
and I don't like any of you.
But things got real heated when their song Like That featured a fuming Kendrick Lamar, who did everything but call out specific names in the shots he took. J. Cole immediately responded to it before taking back his words and apologizing.
It's amazing. You are 100% wrong.
Drake, however, antagonized Kendrick to drop whatever diss tracks he had for him after dropping two himself. Then, all hell broke loose. The two rappers were sending direct disses to each other before you knew it. During the battle, Drake addressed the issues Future had with him, and according to him, he didn't know they had issues at all. It looks like the person he was most confused with during this entire ordeal was Future, not even Rick Ross, who took personal shots at Drake when Kendrick's verse started heating up the streets and airwaves.
Gossip Queen. You ready?
What? Some people believe Future isn't rocking with Drake over a woman. There have been rumors of Thames being the reason why they haven't been seeing eye to eye. It would be kind of weird if that was the case, considering how notorious they are for getting any woman they want. But there isn't any confirmation about them beefing over women. Fact of the matter is, there is smoke.
Where there is smoke, there is fire.
Perhaps Drake wants to know why there's issues if he truly doesn't know why Future isn't dealing with them anymore. Looks like Young Thug wants to know too. Young Thug has been far away from this beef. While all these songs were being released, Thug was handling his battles in court. He's been locked up in Cobb County Jail since 2022 on RICO charges that involve multiple accusations associated with murder, gang violence, and other notorious charges that could have him sitting in prison for a long time. Despite the amount of time he's facing, Thug still wants peace between Drake and Future. He got on X and directly mentioned Drake and Future in a tweet, telling both of them that they need to come back together because they're all brothers. But will it actually happen? Although Thug is sitting in jail, he could very well be getting all the news going on in the streets by multiple people. And who knows how it's being told to him.
You can't handle the truth.
However it's clearly not sitting right with them. That's a pretty kind gesture to get in the middle of their beef and try to squash things, but things may have gone too far to do anything about it now. Drake and Future don't seem to have tried mending anything. Future is going through another mixtape run, while Drake is trying to catch more traction with his music even while folks are advising him to take a break for a while. For all we know, this may not be as important as it is to Thug. Doesn't mean they won't see Thug trying though. Right after Young Thug sent the tweet, screenshots of Future retweeting it started going around. Perhaps Future feels the same about reuniting with Drake, and it wouldn't be surprising if Drake is down with it, especially if he really doesn't understand why there was animosity in the first place. A retweet can go a long way, but at the end of the day, both Future and Drake would have to come together and talk about everything.
Then we have a deal.
Including the reason Future started lashing out. If they decide to squash everything, does that mean Future will strip Like That from everything and everywhere?
And the whole world, look around you. Look at this. We created this.
It's been a #1 hit record since it dropped, topping the charts not only in America, but Canada, Europe, and Oceania too. There's a lot of accolades to go with the song and everything that came with it. It's cemented in hip-hop history at this point. Taking it back would be like J. Cole apologizing to Kendrick for dissing him. If it happens, then what type of domino effect will it cause this time?
Might be ready to go to war over Kendrick Lamar performing at next year's Super Bowl instead of Lil Wayne.
Well, what were you feeling? I felt like I wanted to punch him in his face.
On September 8th, the rap game was left extremely divided by the announcement that Kendrick Lamar would be anchoring Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, Louisiana. You might assume that the people angriest about this news would be Lil Wayne or Drake, but no, there was nobody as mad and shook up about the news as the queen of rap herself, Nicki Minaj. So what we're gonna do today is break down Nicki's complicated history with the music industry, from her epic rise to what may be considered a huge downfall. So let's start at the beginning. How did Nicki Minaj first rise to power?
To survive is to stay alive in the face of opposition.
Nicki spent years hustling in New York as an up-and-coming rapper, uploading music to MySpace, releasing free mixtapes, and appearing in freestyle videos. Little did she know that a clip from one of those underground rap DVDs would end up in the hands of New Orleans rapper Lil Wayne, who was in the process of putting together a roster for his very own record label, Young Money Entertainment. When Nicki's raps caught his attention, he became her mentor and signed her to his label.
I wanted to make sure she had two things. She did not sound like Foxy, do not sound like Kim. And when I heard Nick was sounding like me.
That move completely changed the trajectory of Nicki's career. Nicki, in fact, credits the work she did on her first tape with Young Money, 2009's Beam Me Up Scotty, with making her refocus on her music career, which she said made the industry take her seriously as an artist. In order to promote Young Money's newest signees, Wayne featured his artists on the 2009 compilation album We Are Young Money, where Nicki Minaj made appearances alongside new label recruits like Drake and Tyga. That included a show-stopping appearance on the 7 times platinum single Bedrock. From there, Nicki's career took off like a rocket. She appeared on Kanye West's 2010 song Monster, where she featured alongside industry stars like Ye, Jay-Z, Rick Ross, and Bon Iver, where her verse was widely reviewed as the best of any of her peers. Complex rated her Monster verse the best rap verse in the last 5 years. Nicki's debut album, Pink Friday, debuted at #1 and became the first female rap album to go platinum in 7 years. From there, Nicki kept doubling down on win after win. Her next album, Pink Friday, Roman Reloaded, pivoted further into pop music, which earned her criticism from diehard rap fans who accused Nicki of abandoning her hip-hop roots. But Nicki still landed atop the Billboard charts. Her next 2 projects, Pink Print and Queen, were huge commercial successes, even though they didn't manage to peak higher than #2 on the charts. By the time Nicki spun the block on 2023's Pink Friday 2, she became the first female rapper in history to have 3 #1 albums to her name. Countless rappers and journalists have sung Nicki's praises. The New York Times called her the most influential female rapper of all time, and she was ranked at #10 on Billboard's 50th Greatest Rappers list. Under Wayne's mentorship and guidance, Nicki Minaj managed to turn a mixtape circuit hustle into rap superstardom. But Nicki also made incredibly savvy business moves that only further cemented her into the culture.
One thing I learned along the way in business is the necessity for you to be unapologetic about asking for how much money you deserve.
While Nicki's music shot up in the charts, she also made lateral moves into different vectors of the entertainment industry. In 2013, Nicki pulled in a reported $12 million by joining the judges panel on American Idol. She also parlayed her popularity into an acting career, appearing in films like Barbershop, The Next Cut, a romantic comedy called The Other Woman, and voice acting gigs for the Ice Age and Angry Bird franchises. Over the course of her career, Nicki also launched 10 different fragrance lines with various corporate partners like the Home Shopping Network and JCPenney. On top of that, Nicki's had a long history of partnerships with brands like MAC, Adidas, Beats Electronics, Kmart, Mercedes, you name it. Plus, she's also collaborated with fashion powerhouses like Fendi and Marc Jacobs. Not to mention, she also launched her very own press-on nails line, Pink Friday Nails. So basically what I'm saying is that Nicki has been incredibly smart about diversifying her income streams way beyond music. But one of the most important and visible Nicki Minaj business moves came in 2015 when she was announced as a co-star for the music streaming service Tidal, owned by Jay-Z. During a high-profile press run, Nicki came out on stage with Jay and other celebrity Tidal co co-owners like J. Cole, Beyonce, Rihanna, Alicia Keys, Chris Martin, Usher, and Madonna, almost as if they were the Avengers of the music industry. Nicki Minaj showing up besides Jay-Z was a big show of force, especially since her Young Money label made Drake inked an exclusive partnership with Tidal's direct competitor, Apple Music. But in 2021, Jay sold Tidal to the company Square. Ultimately, Tidal just wasn't as successful as a superstar group of co-owners hoped it would be. Still, high-profile hustles like these only made Nicki a bigger force to be reckoned with, which makes it even weirder that Nicki struggled to be successful launching her own record label.
People think they could do it. Everybody wants to walk in your shoes until you put them in your shoes, and then it's like, you know what I mean?
On March 3rd of 2024, Nicki made a huge announcement. She was launching her very own record label, Heavy On It Records. Nicki said she never wanted to do a label before because I said to myself, unless I'm ready to really put these artists on, I'm not going to ruin anyone else's life. Nicki quickly announced her new artist roster. It included Nana Fofi, an Afro soul artist from Ghana, Tate Kobang, a rapper from Baltimore, Rico Donna, a rapper from Queens, and London Hill, a Bronx rapper known for having a Caribbean influence. By all appearances, Nicki was curating a team of promising up-and-coming artists and promising to lend her star power to help boost their careers. But any hype that came from Nicki's big label announcement quickly got overshadowed by drama. On April 29th, just 2 months later, news broke that London Hill had parted ways with Nicki's label. Nicki responded that London was never signed and they only ever had talks about London joining Heavy On It. Then on August 21st, Nicki criticized unnamed artists for not wanting to sign to her label and opting to join white-owned record companies instead.
And guess who the white people's finna call? Always. Oh, Nika, Tanya, Mirage, Bandit. Oh, they always make sure they get the attention of the barbs.
Nicki even doubled down, claiming that the deluxe edition of her latest album, Pink Friday 2, would only exclusively feature artists from Heavy On It. But Nicki later scrapped the Pink Friday 2 Gag City Deluxe edition, claiming that she'd release an entirely different album instead, Pink Friday 3. Unfortunately, though, this left her promise of promoting her new record label in limbo. Unlike Lil Wayne, who featured Nicki across mixtapes in the Young Money compilation album, Nicki seemed to be waffling on how front and center she wants to be with her label roster. Despite Nicki's star power, Heavy On It Records made much more news for its internal drama rather than actual music. But what about the artists who Nicki criticized for not signing to her?
You can't expect the Nicki Minaj package when you ain't did the Nicki Minaj work.
In 2023, Ice Spice, a rising star from the Bronx, grabbed headlines for collaborating with the queen of rap herself. Their link-up, the Princess Diana remix, became the first ever official release on Nicki's label Heavy On It, building hype that Ice Spice might officially join the team. The anticipation only grew when Ice Spice and Nicki Minaj linked up again later for that summer for Barbie World, which debuted on the Barbie movie soundtrack. But on May 3rd of 2024, leaked texts surfaced between Bronx rapper Ice Spice and her one-time best friend Baby Storm. In those alleged texts, Ice Spice clearly criticizes Nicki Minaj in her attempts to sign her. In one exchange, Ice Spice even said she wants publishing royalties from all of my songs and claims I'm already signed, so why would I work backward? In those texts, Ice Spice also criticized Nicki, claiming that the queen of rap was like her mom, ungrateful and delusional. Ice Spice even said that the Barbie World song was an opportunity that was originally only intended for her, but she invited Nicki to participate out of respect for Nicki's Barbie brand. This is really notable because Ice Spice not only exposed that she didn't have a good personal relationship with Nicki, but that she didn't see a personal upside to Nicki's business moves. Based on those texts, it seemed like Nicki wanted to sign Ice Spice to a 360 deal, which takes anywhere from 10 to 25% of an artist's income, even for income streams that have nothing to do with releasing music, like touring, merch, or brand endorsements. While artists with 360 deals sometimes benefit by having hands-on support from the label, 360 deals are also considered notorious for trapping artists in long-term commitments that restrict their creative control. What's even crazier is that Nicki spoke openly about avoiding 360 deals when she herself was up and coming in the rap game.
You know, that was the one thing my lawyer put me onto that a long time ago, and thank you, Jesus, that I never had to sign a 360.
Another artist who was rumored to be linking up with Heavy On It was JT, aka one half of the Miami rap duo City Girls. This was after JT had a very public falling out with her group mate Young Miami, and the two of them mutually agreed to pursue solo careers. premieres. After appearing on the Queen mix of Nicki Minaj's single Super Freaky Girls, anticipation grew that JT and Nicki might officially link up under the Heavy On It umbrella. However, 3 months after Nicki invited JT on stage at a Pink Friday 2 tour stop, Nicki seemingly took shots at her during a live stream where she said, "You also have to question why a person would go from unliking you to loving you. Isn't that odd?" Some fans took this as a reference to the years-old leaked audio where the City Girls were heard downplaying Nicki's success. Then on August 21st, the very same day where Nicki criticized artists for not signing to her, fans noticed that she had unfollowed both Ice Spice and JT on social media. This seemed like a clear, unmistakable signal that Nicki was directly shading them for not inking a deal with Heavy On It Records. And unfortunately for Nicki, the news of who she didn't sign grabbed more headlines than who she did. But all that aside though, no one was prepared for Nicki to crash out to the max when Kendrick Lamar was announced as Super Bowl 59's headlining halftime show performer.
If I'm making a business decision in 2024 and I look at the monster year Kendrick just had, just straight business on a corporate level, it's Kendrick.
Just hours after Kendrick, the NFL, and the halftime show's partner Roc Nation announced the news, Nicki took to Twitter to voice her displeasure, writing, "One took a knee, the other took a bag." This is a pretty clear reference to Colin Kaepernick, the former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, who alleged that he was blackballed by the NFL because of his political statements against police brutality. Jay-Z, meanwhile, later joined up with the NFL to produce the Super Bowl halftime show, despite all the controversy over the NFL's treatment of Colin Kaepernick. Without mentioning Jay's name directly, Nicki continued tweeting referring to him as spiteful and evil and alleging that he had connections with politicians and police. Nicki even claimed that Jay-Z was denying Wayne, who she called a young black man, despite the fact that he's 41, but digression. A chance to headline at the halftime show because of his ego and apparent hatred for Cash Money Records boss Birdman, Drake, and Nicki herself. This goes back to a back and forth Jay-Z had with Birdman years ago about which one of them had more money. In a lot of ways, Nicki seemed to be hinting that Jay-Z orchestrated a conspiracy to keep Wayne from headlining the 2025 halftime show in his hometown of New Orleans. And to be fair, there was a ton of reactions out there after Wayne wasn't picked to headline, but Nicki's Twitter tirade definitely became the most viral because it was pretty out of pocket. Not only did she accuse Jay-Z of masterminding a revenge scheme against Young Money artists, but she also used some pretty wild language to insinuate that Jay-Z was actually in the pocket of white America. One commenter wrote, "I never would have thought that Kendrick's Like That verse would lead to Nicki calling Jay-Z a house within a calendar year." Nicki later tweeted that she wasn't attacking Kendrick Lamar directly, saying you could love and respect Kendrick and still love and respect Wayne. Even Kendrick loves and respects Wayne. This whole blow up is pretty significant because even at the height of the Drake-Kendrick beef this past summer, Nicki stayed completely silent, even though she's known for having a close relationship with Drake. At the same time, Nicki is clearly willing to jump out the window to protect Wayne's legacy. But is this Nicki being grateful to the man who signed her and started her career, or is there more at play here? Like the time Nicki criticized artists for not signing to Heavy On It and choosing white record labels instead, Nicki's attack on the Super Bowl halftime show and Jay-Z's NFL affiliation seems to be about bolstering herself more than anything. After all, Nicki would have benefited from artists like Ice Spice and JT signing 360 deals with Heavy On It, just like she would have presumably a chance to perform at the halftime show headlined by her Young Money mentor and boss, Lil Wayne. Some fans also pointed out that Nicki has called out Roc Nation, Jay-Z, and Beyonce before, more specifically for their support of their rival Megan Thee Stallion. Nicki also claimed that she never received a payout for her promotion of Jay-Z's streaming service Tidal, claiming no one promoted it more than me outside of Beyonce. If you really look at the big picture, Nicki seems to have beef with Jay-Z for reasons that go way beyond Lil Wayne not performing at the Super Bowl. Whatever the reason, it really looks like Nicki Minaj is ready to go to war with Jay-Z, Roc Nation, and anyone affiliated with them. In the midst of her epic Twitter rant, Nicki heard a tweet from Cash Money founder Birdman where he tagged Nicki, Wayne, and Drake and promised to make their enemies respect them. It really seems like Nicki might be stuck in the middle of a new civil war in the rap game, with Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and Lil Wayne squaring up on either side. It's hard to say what'll happen from all this, but definitely get ready because something crazy is gonna happen soon.